Hey, my loves. So you may have seen my previous post with Trevor Noah speaking about ADHD and time blindness, and it's real. It's real. But something that also comes out that I talk a lot about with clients, coaches, and the students I teach is this belief system, the idea that neurodivergent people coming together, especially from Black and Brown communities where neurodivergence is often undiagnosed, automatically feels easier. So someone has seen that post and said, if he was with neurodivergent friends and community, the issues around timekeeping and letting people down wouldn't be so prevalent. So to say, actually, sometimes it is easier. Sometimes actually it's even more difficult. As a lot of you probably know, especially those that follow me and kind of like come to my classes, and that you know that there's a high occurrence of undiagnosed neurodivergence in the Black and Brown communities. And often we don't name it as, that person's ADHD or they have autism or whatever else. We just say things like, we get each other or we do things differently. And that can create a really deep understanding, but it can also hide some very real challenges. So let me give you an example that I've used quite regularly when teaching, because it really helps us to kind of understand it from different elements and so that no one's wrong. It's just a thing of a different way of communicating, understanding, and dysregulation. So we have two people, both Black, both undiagnosed neurodivergents with some trauma histories. So one's a mother of two neurodivergent children. So forgive me, I've had to write it down so I can remember it. So you might see me looking down. So she's got two neurodivergent children. She's highly organised in some ways, deeply caring, a natural helper, and someone who fawns under stress and creates a strong sense of responsibility for others. So we look at fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and we don't look at enough in neurodivergence, because fawning can be people pleasing. Fawning can be keeping quiet when there's something happening. It's not just that, you say nothing because you go over an attacker or an abuse happens and you don't react. You kind of appear to be complicit. Fawning is also people pleasing. So as it says, the other one is more impulsive, maybe much more emotionally expressive, struggles with rejection sensitivity, and has a strong need for control around time and plans, because unpredictability can probably feel destabilizing and re-traumatizing in one way, but definitely dysregulating and destabilizing. So they plan a beach trip together. Yeah, let's say they're going from Manchester to Camber Sands. Yeah, so the train trip is booked, and let's say the one who's without children is called Tony, and one with children is called Tamara. So Tony says to Tamara, listen, we've had places where you've come and you've been running behind or being late, and I don't want you to book the tickets for us because your timing, it triggers me. Tamara's like, I do hear you. I hear you completely. I need you to trust me. The occurrences where there has been lateness, actually what you're not taking into account is that I've never made you late for something. I may be running behind, but you've got to places on time, haven't immersed with your events, your stuff. And it has been for genuinely 2 times for reasons. One being that I had to take my younger child off the train to go to the toilet. Trying to find a toilet in Manchester off the train is a lot of work. So that's why I was running behind, and then trying to get back on the train. The other is that it was a big event, like a festival, and didn't particularly want to be there. So, you want us to come to watch like a particular segment of a section of the festival, which I do get, but actually was feeling really overwhelmed. Remember, this person has 2 neurodivergent children, so trying to get them together and then travel across Manchester just didn't work. And there was other things. I think what I was saying, like Tamara had an ex-partner that may have been there. The ex-partner had an issue with Tony, so there was that thinking of, what if we see the ex-partner, how she's gonna, this is a lot of work, don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So it became a whole thing. And the other one again about the event. At the event there was going to be protesters, so Tamara was already wanting to support her friend Tony while also being mindful of those protesters, and there's things happening, and I have my children, and so there's so much things going on cognitively that Tamara doesn't show. So she's like, trust me, Tony, you've told me this is an issue, and I'm gonna show you that I'm not always late. Tony works in the helping field. Tony is always on time for that stuff. These have been occurrences, but there has been a reason. In general, Tamara's on time. So they plan to go to the beach. No specific plans for when they get to the beach. Just we're going to spend a day on the beach. Sounds fun. No beach in Manchester that I'm aware of. So it worked fine. But here's the first issue. There was no explicit agreement about the meeting time. Just the assumption and the agreement that we'll get on the same train. So already we can see miscommunication. So there wasn't and we're going to meet on the platform at, let's say, 9:45 to get the 10 a.m. It was just, we're getting the 10 a.m. train. So already, two neurodivergent people, that thing of, you know me, you get me, it's not been clear. And in neurodivergence, a lot of people need clarity and explicit. We're going to get here, which means for you, what time have you got to leave your house by? Okay, and I'm going to leave my house by this time. So that was done. There's an unspoken expectation. So on the day, something even more unexpected happens. So Tony very rightly calls Tamara and says, I'm leaving my house now. Where are you? And Tamara's like, you're going to be so happy with me. I'm leaving the house too. I'm just going to go and get like a boom box and listen to music on the beach and pick up my chairs. And Tony's like, girl, I've got you. I've got a boom box and I've got chairs. Just get you and the children to the station. Let's go have fun. So Tamara's like, yay! Tony's like, yay! They're both heading out. Tamara goes outside. And remember, this is Tamara, trauma history, helper, fawns, people pleasing, but also just a good person as well. Tamara gets outside with the children. The children hear someone knocking on the neighbour's door, banging, but from the inside. So the children say, hey, mum, someone's trapped in that house. So Tamara goes running over now, looking in. Oh, the neighbour, who is, I think, let's say she's very elderly, has dementia, other co-occurring conditions that Tamara's aware of. Tamara's like, I cannot leave this person. So what Tamara does, which is quite common, especially with autism, I would say, is starts doing something where the nervous system goes straight into helper mode. Some do like fawning, so helping, not saying much, or appeasing. Some might fight, so it's trying to protect, especially if it's injustice and everything else. Or it might be flight, runs, avoids, gets into shutdown again, freeze. So much things happen. But hers was that she goes into helper mode. So she starts documenting. So she's filming, calls fire brigade, starts filming so Tony can know, look, Tony, I'm running late, but this is not because I'm late. Look, here's proof. This is what's happening. The lady's trapped in there. I've called the fire brigade. I'm going to do the best I can to get there on time. But if I don't, I'm going to send you the ticket beforehand so that you can get on the train. And the ticket allows for you to get on later or for us to get on later and meet you there. No problem. Sorry for the delay, but I hope you can see this is an exceptional circumstance. So that's for reassurance. So from Tamara's perspective, she's being responsible, compassionate and transparent and evidencing so there's no miscommunication and to show that trust wasn't broken. You trusted Tamara. Tamara has understood and respected that trust and wants to hold it sacred. But it's that thing of, do I hold it sacred and abandon somebody who's in danger to hold it sacred for you? Or do I try to manage both so that both people are okay? From the other person's perspective, Tony, their nervous system here is, you're not prioritizing me. Potential rejection sensitivity probably kicks in, anxiety rises, and the control around, goes up. So it's I think the response would probably be something like, what could be a typical response? Just get here. Yes, I've heard all that, but just get here. So Tamara's now hearing, oof, that's a bit harsh. I'm literally trying to help somebody. But Tony's also hearing, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you because look, you're late. So that happens. So neither person's wrong, but both now are dysregulated in different ways. Tamara makes it on time. She gets on the train. So Tony messages and says, look, I'm on the train track. It's 10 minutes to you're not here. Tamara's like, it's fine. Get on the train. If we get it, we get it. If we not, we'll be coming in on the next train. It's like maybe 15 minutes after it leaves. So Tamara gets on the train with the children, but she is still in freeze state. She's like, so on the outside, she seems fine. She's getting the children their bits. She's pre-packed sandwiches and lunches and stuff like that. So everything's going well, but she's overwhelmed inside. This was a lot happening. I've just seen someone locked in and they were locked in by their carer. And so Tamara's explained to Tony, the carers locked this woman in. This is such an injustice. Remember autism, injustice? This is such a big injustice. Tony, though, is activated too. Irritated, scanning for further evidence of being let down. You know, I knew I should have trusted you. Are you a safe person? You know, oh, so flopsy. And kind of says, look, you know what, you stay in that carriage. Because Tamara says, look, Tamara starts walking to find Tony on the carriage. And, you know, there's the carriages, it's cut off. So Tamara can't get to Tony's carriage. She's got to change. And she can't change at that next stop because it's too short a time span. So Tamara says, I'm going to have to wait until the next station to get on. To which Tony says, look, this is too much for me. Just stay back there. I'll see you when we get there. So now for Tamara, she's got her 2 neurodivergent children who are excited to see Tony. And it is probably there a little bit of sensory overload. Okay, so am I being punished now for taking care of somebody else and not meeting your expectation? Whereas Tony's like, I cannot look for seats where you guys can now fit. This is too much. Now I've got to find 3 other seats. I'm dysregulated. I'm probably very irritated and let down. Stay over there. But the communication isn't clear. It's not brought lovingly. It's not saying, I am so dysregulated right now and I can't start trying to find 3 other seats because the train is packed. You know, still love you guys, still care. Looking forward to seeing the other side. It's just, so already, again, the miscommunication. 2 neurodivergent people. They arrive. Tony's back in good sorts. Hey! Tamara's like, oh my God, if not for caring about Tony, Tamara would have just taken her children and left, because actually this is really, feels very unjust. You haven't heard what was going on in the background. There hasn't been care that Tamara's children now are left with being rejected too. So you're upset, but you've rejected my children too. That's her thinking. Whereas Tony's like, this happened earlier, and now I'm in a place where I've regulated myself and I'm ready to enjoy the day and receive you both. I'm here, all 3. I'm here for you. So again, so Tony attempts to clear the air. Tamara's in freeze, but not showing it because the masking. So it really becomes just a very, things are happening. And Tamara hasn't left because Tamara knows that by leaving would trigger Tony's rejection sensitivity. And it will cause problems that needs to be caused. So Tamara goes into freeze state. So they get to the beach. Again, no plan of what they're going to do. But then Tony says, you know, I'm meeting my friends here with children. So Tony's mind is, look, they're his children. The children can play. Really lovely. But there hasn't been a proper discussion. So Tamara's a bit like, oh, okay, we're not going to sit down. We're going to... So already there's this, again, miscommunication, but the belief that we understand each other. They meet the friends. They find a lovely spot. Tony's done amazingly, bought the chairs, made sure there's music for everyone to have a good time. Tamara's, you know, gone up trying to get everyone some lunch, make sure everyone's okay, and they're doing their bit. You know, more people that Tamara doesn't know. So remember, having to then maybe be performative, not in a fake way, but you know, you're already dysregulated. You probably just want to sit quietly, but now you're having to be friendly and how are you? Nice to meet you. And then Tony, being ADHD, potentially, neurodivergent, let's say, is probably a bit more impulsive, might say things they're thinking without thinking it through, maybe. So there's things that are being said that are not probably realizing, well, that's a bit offensive, or actually that's not really okay to say. So it's that thing, they're both trying to figure, probably there's something going on there. So yes, so they've had a day, it's time to get ready to leave, like they plan to leave by a certain time, there's a train time for a certain time, kind of. Tony says, hey, there's another event, I'm going to stay on, do you want to stay? So Tamara's like, no, because it's late, I've got to take the children home, it's hours to get back to Manchester, I've got to go. So, you know, but I've sent you your ticket again, you have everything, thank you for inviting us, nice day, and again being polite, and goes back. So now both, there's a rupture, but it's unspoken and it's been made nicely, but no one's really naming how something felt. So let's say the next day Tony contacts Tamara's like, hey, sorry about that, I was dysregulated, didn't do a good job, sorry if I offended you. Tamara wanting to be genuine and have genuine connection, because friendship is not just about the good times, it's about, there's going to be ruptures in friendships, and it's about honesty and repair. Didn't like what you did, hey girl, that was offensive, or hey mister, I didn't like that you did that. And then there's repair, there's understanding, and then there's actually a deepening of connection and friendship. So Tamara says, you know, yeah, that did make me feel a bit away, because in order for me to get there on time, it meant that I would have to be someone I don't want to be. By leaving that woman struggling, it wouldn't. I'm a very empathetic person. To leave her would have been difficult. Tony hears judgment. Tony hears, you're saying I lack empathy. You're saying I'm a bad person. So that's triggering rejection sensitivity now. Whereas Tamara's like, oh no, this is not about you. That's the choices that you make. I'm not saying nothing about you. What I'm saying is, for me to leave, it would have not been who I am. It would kind of affect my integrity. I would feel deep guilt. So there comes the explaining. It's not about you. It is about me. And then Tony, now defending in defensive mode, starts saying something like, I don't know, you're always late. There's always drama around you. So now Tamara's hearing, oh, you're now judging me and criticizing me. And before that, Tamara, again, being helper, would be very understanding of Tony. Again, remember, accepted Tony for the whole being. So where Tony brought a lot of what you might say drama, it's a problem with this person, this happened, this event's happened in my life, that's going on, and that Tamara just takes it in, helps to process, listens, is kind, is present, and makes no judgment. But then now Tamara is probably hearing, but the one time I've done something which didn't feel good for you, the same thing about timekeeping or wherever else, you've made judgments and called me drama. So that's all probably Tamara can hear. You've called me drama. You said there's drama around me. I have got some peace around me, but you've now made drama. So he's like, I hear what you're saying, but they don't have drama around me. That's not right. Tony says, oh no, but you do. It's always drama. So you can already now hear, oh, you're not listening to each other. There's labeling and there's all the other things going on. To which Tony then says, well, you know what? Like a child, when you over-explain, sometimes you should just say, keep it small. Don't, like a child, over-explain. So now Tamara's heard, you're likening me to a child. So now you're furthering with disrespect and likening me to a child. So they're not hearing. So, and all of that, Tamara's reminding, can you please reimburse the ticket for me, as you said you would, pay back for it, and it's fine. To which Tony then says, you know what, I'm going to take this conversation and I'm going to share it with my therapist, and we can talk about you there and analyze it there. So Tamara's heard, oh, so you've now breached my confidentiality and taken my conversation, my text message to somebody else. Not that Tamara said anything bad, but it's about, you're not respecting my confidentiality here. And Tamara, knowing that Tony does that quite a bit with other people's conversations, like, oh wow, I've now become someone you're doing that to as well. Now it's turned, whoa. So now there's the boundaries, someone's not getting space. So Tony says, I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to take the conversation, I'll get back to you. So Tamara's like, okay, it's fine. So Tony comes back maybe some days later, a week later, whatever it might be, and says to Tamara, okay, I spoke to my therapist, we had a long talk about it, and in the future what I'll do is, any of my friends that have children, what I will do is I will tell them to meet me at an event with no time, and I'll meet them there. Because what Tony has gone away and done was found ways to actually maintain a relationship with the person. So they've done really well in saying, this is the boundaries I'm going to put for myself. I won't put expectation anymore. You can't be on time, and I get it, so I won't request you're on time. I'll just won't invite to certain things. If I do invite to think, there's no time. But Tamara's saying, okay, that's really great. You're making it like I'm always late, and I'm not. You're saying I've always got drama of timekeeping. That's not true. The 2 times before that I was late, I explained, and this time it was about helping somebody else, and I still got the train on time. You're not hearing it. But Tony's saying, I've gone away and done this great work. I figured out a way to still be present for you and still be a friend and caring, and you're hearing that I haven't done good enough. What? And then Tamara's saying, I still like the fact you use drama. And Tony's saying, yeah, but it is drama. I have a very busy life, very high pressured role in the world, and I need friends that are calm, and you trigger my nervous system, basically. And Tamara's saying, I don't want to say to this person that actually you trigger my nervous system too. Most of our conversations are drama. It's someone done this to you, someone done that. And I've never said you're drama because I haven't added that to you. I've added that this person felt this way and I want to empathize and be present for that. I never said you're drama. But you're now telling me can't keep this. So it's that kind of thing of, oh, it's mismatched. So can you already see now again the misunderstanding, the conflict communication, the defensive comes in, to which Tamara then says, look, you're not a bad person. you know, but I feel I need to step back, just take some time, you know. In public, when I see you, I'll always be polite and kind, like I'll have your back if anything comes up, but I need to step back because I'm not experiencing this doesn't feel good. But you know, you're not a bad person. I wish you all the best. I have nothing but love for you, but this doesn't work for me in friendships. It's becoming a lot for me. To which Tony then says, okay, Tam. So Tamara is like, can I just remind you, my name is not Tam. Can you please call me Tamara? To which Tony, then feeling rejected really, then comes back with other communication. And I think at one point, maybe let's say Tony highlights and puts in a circle. It's like Tamara says, screen capture and send it back. Tamara's saying, okay, so now this person's screen capturing what I've said and sending stuff back to me. Yeah, this doesn't feel healthy. So Tamara says again, okay, that's fine. Can I remind you to please reimburse the ticket you mentioned? Conversation ends, and it's, oof, this was not nice for both of them. It's like, ew, this feels icky. This feels very toxic very quickly. And what Tamara also remembered was that when Tony had been with them at the beach, Tony had been staring at Tamara's boobs, and Tamara didn't mention it, but Tony was like, oh, I'm sorry about seeing your boobs a lot. So already it was the kind of thing of, oh, this is a lot going on. So there's always different unspoken things, always different awkwardnesses that are happening in that dynamic. Are you already hearing how both people are not wrong, but neither are really completely slowing down to hear the other one? And very reassurance maybe be given by Tamara, saying, look, it's not you. Like, I like you, you're a good person, this feels a lot for me. Yeah, I know you didn't mean it that way, but this is how I experienced it. Tony's hearing, no, you're judging me. You're not listening. You've caused me this. No, this is real. You were late. Factually, you were. Whereas Tamara's like, no, actually, I wasn't late for the train. We didn't have a time, but I got on the train on time. But I understand you was dysregulated, but how you did it didn't feel very polite or respectful. Whereas Tony's like, I trusted you to be on time. I told you it was an issue for me. I invited you. I've let you into my circle, into my heart, like my protected space, and look what you've done. And they were telling me I'm not empathetic, and they were telling me, you know, you don't want to be friends with me or stepping back from me. Like, I went away and processed it and came back with a really good thing. I made sure I said it nicely to the best of my ability, and you've still rejected me. So it's like, oof. So you can see both sides, right? So some weeks pass. Tamara is still following Tony on social media, seeing Tony going out and buying things and, you know, empathizing with mothers. You know, I get it's probably really hard for mothers to juggle everything, and, you know, I really give you empathy. And Tamara's saying, hold on, where is that empathy for Tamara? Where is that empathy for me? With my children who are both neurodivergent, who are trying to get there and help someone else. I'm not hearing how that links. You're buying things. Can you reimburse, I don't know how much ticket is, let's say, I can't remember what a ticket for Manchester to campus that would be, let's say probably under 30 quid. So it's not even the money, it's the principle of show that respect, that honouring that something was done for you in care. So it goes. So Tamara's like, you know what, rather than me get more frustrated with you, I'm going to just remove myself, unfriend you, and move myself away out of respect, because we don't want this in my face stuff. Probably Tony's not even thinking about Tamara at that point. Out of sight, out of mind, I've moved on. But Tamara's like, no, this might not be aimed at me, but it's not taking into account the empathy that you owe me money and I'm in that situation. So again, not seeing each other. So some weeks go, Tamara's like, you know what, they leave the money. Then Tamara's like, well, actually, no, it's the principal. Like, you know, she's a single mother. She's got children. Can you pay back? So it's like, you know, send a message. Hey, hope you're doing really well. You know what, you noticed and thought, you know, I was neurodivergent. You're right. And let's say tomorrow I had a diagnosis, and, you know, you're actually on the money, and you're right. And the children, as you know, they are, make so much sense for the processing. So he's using connection, using honesty, transparency, connection to kind of connect. You know, probably notes that I unfriended you. Again, it wasn't like an attack, anything mean about you. I just found it really difficult, you know, that like you're posting about like buying stuff and understanding like single parents and what they're going through, and, you know, hadn't yet returned the money to me, and maybe seen that maybe I was struggling in that situation too, especially now knowing that their person's neurodivergent and they had seen it. So what Tony hears is, you're judging me again. Why don't you just ask me for it? But for Tamara, well, she'd asked several times, sent bank details, I think twice, so let's say like twice or 3 times or whatever else, or twice once, but twice had sent bank details and you hadn't done it, and now it's, why didn't you ask me? So tomorrow's like, this person is very difficult because I'm bending over backwards to be kind. Not that it's hard to be kind, but just like literally seeing the stray bullets and being like, you know, I'm going to ignore that bullet, I'm going to ignore that one, don't like that one, don't do that, oh, that's a problem. Oh, then Tony's like, all you had to just say to me was, friend, can you please not forget to send the money back? Whereas tomorrow had done that, but it had probably been forgotten, because with ADHD sometimes there's a forgetfulness that a lot of people don't understand. The intention is there, but there's a forgetfulness of it. So now that's become another problem. Oh, you've unfriended me, you've rejected me. Now Tony blocks tomorrow across all social media streams. So it's like, so tomorrow's like, oh, you've done to me what you've done to other people now. So now I've become a person that you've also blocked like other people too. This pattern is exhausting. So this is like, okay, I'm gonna just, oh, please, this is a lot. And with all of that, the sideline is that you've probably known each other for less than 5 months. So this can be sometimes very typical of a neurodivergent friendship. So when we say that sometimes it's easier, it does not necessarily mean it's easier. If anything, it brings its own problems. So, so understanding does not mean excusing harm, what I would say. Like I said, no, neither is right or wrong. Well, both are right in their own way. Neither is terribly wrong to some degree. But talking about the fight, flight and freeze, especially in the Black community and the fawn, it's something I talk about in my book that's coming out next year. Talking about intergenerational trauma and understanding neurodivergence, because it's very, very important. But it's something just to think about, you know, if you're running away, if you're avoiding, that maybe you are if you're running away, maybe you're in flight, you're running away from it. If you feel yourself getting more angry and wanting justice or wanting to go straight in or respond immediately, you're probably in fight. If you feel yourself feeling very, like, you know, not wanting to get out of bed, or kind of not really responding, or feeling quite stuck or unsure and indecisive, you're probably in freeze. And the fawn is the people pleasing. It's the it's the wanting to make sure everything's okay, not to make things worse, and all other things like that. So if this has resonated with you, and you're not alone, it is quite common. Like I said, there is a beauty and benefit, there's also a downside. If communication isn't explicit, if repair isn't understood, a lot of people have not come from households where there was repair after an issue, so a lot of people do not know how to give healthy repair. A lot of people hear confrontation rather than somebody confronting something. Look, that didn't feel good for me. Then they hear confrontation, which means combat, which means judgment, which means rejection. Or some people, that isn't that is actually confronting for connection, for deeper healing, for deeper connection. So understanding people's different minds.
What do you want me to play?
There you go. That's Alexa. Tell me what you want me to play, because maybe this needs to be a really good music ending. Thank you for watching and listening. And yeah, Neurodivergence rocks. It has its, I heard people say it's a superpower, and for some it is, for some it's not. But it comes down to it's a disability, because the world is not set up for it. So therefore it becomes disabling for a lot of people. So yes, it can be a superpower. It can also be very deeply disabling. So yeah, take care.